And now it's Boomer Life. Lifestyle ideas designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox.
Well, hello and welcome to Boomer Life here on AM 650. On the program today, we're going to talk to our resident appliance expert on everything you should know when it comes to appliances in your home. Back with us in studio today is the guru of appliance knowledge and appliance repair, a man with 50 years experience in the business. Just a few months from now, in January, will be the official anniversary. Jack McIver of McIver's Appliances back with us on Boomer Life. Hello, Jack.
Morning. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. 50 years in the business. Now, you're going to have a party in January, or will there be some kind of a customer appreciation event or something? Are you planning a bit of a splashy thing? 50 years is worth celebrating somehow.
Well, I celebrate my birthday every January 1st.
Oh, okay.
So
mine's January 5th, so remind me to come to one of those parties.
I'll have 73 years on this planet. At
in
that
January.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were...
But I am immature for my age.
Okay. Well, that's comforting to know. So you were just 22, 23 years old when you started out.
That's right.
Now, how did you begin? How did McIver's didn't open up a store back 50 years ago, did you? Or were you working for someone else when you began in the appliance business?
No, I had worked always in mechanical type jobs, and I was working on the tugs as a mate engineer, which you run the boat half the day. Okay. And you also look after all the mechanics on the boat. So I had a pretty vast experience in mechanics at that time. So I observed people in the business and thought to myself, well, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And this was just in used appliances. And I started off with wringer washers. And there was a big demand for wringer washers. We'd get these trade-ins from Woodward's, and we'd fix them all up and sell them again. So anyway, we sometimes had lineups of ones that had already been sold in the back of the warehouse. So I thought, well, this is pretty good business. It seems to be, and it wasn't expensive because you wouldn't pay a lot for them and you wouldn't sell them for a lot, but there was a good profit in them. Sure. So that went on for the beginning, and then
that got you off the boats by the time you finally decided to do the appliance stuff. Then you stepped away from working on the tugs?
I started in my basement in 62, and by 64 I rented a store on 4th Avenue for $55 a month. Okay. With a rotten floor. So I had to 33 feet wide store down on 4th Avenue. So anyway, I got going there, and then we started doing automatic washers, and we did refrigerators and dishwashers and all the major appliances. Right. And then once we'd been around for a couple of years, we started off selling new appliances. We started with Simplicity washers and dryers, which were they made wringer washers, but they also made the Speed Queen washers and dryers in Canada.
Right, and this is back in the 60s now, right? Mid-60s, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And I got started out with 1965, 1966, I got a Maytag dealership. And then I had a Kelvinator dealership, these were all Canadian-built appliances.
Mm-hmm, I remember all those names.
And then we had GE, and as time went on, the business grew, and then we got into the coin-operated laundry equipment business and got started in that. And then we started selling parts. So as time rolled along, I developed a feel for the business and a feel for the public and a feel for advertising. Okay. Because I did a fair amount of advertising in the money that we made. We'd put it back into advertising as an investment. So from then on, we went into the 70s, and I got started with the GE company as a wholesale distributor to contractors and to apartment owners on a wholesale basis.
Becomes a fairly high volume business. Were you still doing this out of the 4th Avenue store?
No, we had moved then to Boundary and Kingsway.
Okay.
And we had a 13,000 square foot building there. And the business grew quite rapidly because what we were doing was with a very good product at that time. The GE product was fantastic. So we were the fastest growing dealer in Canada. We got some plaques for growing and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up being the largest GE dealer in Western Canada. And then we carried on from there, and then products started to deteriorate, and attitudes changed, and I divorced the GE company because things weren't working out like they used to.
Right.
And that was the beginning where the company had grown to quite a large company of 30 employees, 2 stores, 9 trucks, and a big service department and everything. And as appliances just deteriorated, I decided I had to make a choice. I was either going to vend these things that were not as well made, because I was corrupted by the quality of all the rest of the time I'd been in business.
You were spoiled by the good stuff.
That's right.
Right.
That's it. So were the customers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So anyway, we then ended up going from a large company and shrunk down over about a 10-year period to what we are now, which is basically a specialist in laundry equipment made by the Speed Queen company in the United States.
Okay.
And then assorted other products that we also sell, but not in the volume that we used to. But we do have a big volume, the biggest volume in these washers and dryers, which is, I like them because they're made to last a long time.
Well, you've already identified some an interesting progress in the business, because you went from a small 4th Avenue store to a very large Boundary Road store, and then because of what you saw as a deterioration in the quality of the product, you began to, well, pull your horns in a little bit and really focus on the product being associated with products that you felt good about.
That's
so
correct.
That's part of 50 years in the business. That's quite an education as well as quite a good living. Tell us what you've learned, especially as you've identified already these changing attitudes and changing product lines and varying degrees of quality in that 150-year span. So what lessons have you taken away from all of this, Jack?
Well, not to get too involved with companies. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, or most of your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Because the relationships are not solid. They can change any time. And the way the business is run, the large manufacturers in the United States, who get a lot of their stuff made offshore and in Mexico, dominate the business.
Right.
And we don't really do business with them. So we're kind of a boutique type business that's run exactly the way I want it to go.
Right.
And we basically advertise to the customers that are interested in the way we do things.
Okay.
And we're not a fit-all business.
Now, you also said moments ago that you and I are both January babies, and you're turning 73 in a couple of months. You could have retired years ago, and yet you're still out there, still driving around. You show up here, okay, your coveralls, service calls. What is it I haven't you taken off into the sunset, Jack? What is it that keeps you coming back for more?
Well, I think it's physical condition. I did spend 15 years as a fireman when I had a lot of employees. And you know what a fireman means in business, do you?
Well, refresh my memory.
Well, that means the guy that has to keep putting out the fires that are getting started by the employees. And So anyway, I didn't have as much money making with all those employees and everything. I didn't make as much money as I should for what I was doing, having all the responsibility, all the money in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, by changing the way I did, I ended up where I'm at now, and I've had a very nice 15 years since I made this decision to kind of opt out of the full range of all these different appliances.
Now, does that coincide, the timing, does that coincide with the move to 610 Southeast Marine Drive?
Not so much. Even when I was on 6th Avenue, I was there for 23 years. The reason I left there was because the property had reached its ultimate value, and I sold it and got my retirement money. And also, when I don't have bank loans, I also am independent, and I'm able to do anything I want, or I can buy anything I want, and I can sell anything I want. When you're working with the big companies, they basically try and help you figure out what you're supposed to be doing, which I don't like.
Right. In other words, they want to control, they want a lot more input would be their word. Control is what it boils down to in your retail operation.
Oh yes, I mean I couldn't stand it, and it's bad for the customers too, because they don't get the protection. I give people some protection by not selling them certain products.
Right. Well, how about when you go into these appliance places and they're the size of a small European country, and they've got thousands of models on display and so on, but they're from all sorts of different manufacturers, so you can't look and go, aha, brand X has really got their fingers on this operation, because they're distributing or they're retailing all sorts of different lines. So how do people like that play the game?
I think you'll find that they have certain lines that are their biggest lines, because they're the biggest manufacturers. Because when you have a big store, you really have to deal with the American giants or the European giants, which could be German or French. As we buy dishwashers from Italy,
yes,
but we buy them direct from the factory. So that's my importing business. I don't have any more. I just buy the dishwashers because I like them.
And of course, by buying them directly from the factory, you eliminate the middleman and that opportunity to mark the prices up.
That's correct.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, with the client as the bottom line, everything you can do to improve the delivery and also make the cost approachable is just, it's all going to come back at you, isn't it?
And you asked about, why I'm still in it. Well, the thing is that when you have relationships with customers and people over the years and companies, they're part of your life in the business, because you have a relationship with them. A lot of people don't have relationships with the customers in business because it's all done remotely. Where we have a store and we have a large warehouse with a lot of product in it. People don't realize that we carry as much stock as we do. But there's one thing: when people go looking, say for instance, for a 28-inch 15 cubic foot fridge, or a freezer, sometimes they won't find it anywhere because they're special order. So what we do is we special order them and stock them in stock.
Oh, okay.
And the same with the freezers. We'll stock. A restaurant needs a 22 cubic foot chest freezer. Theirs is full of $2,000 worth of seafood. And they go looking. They can't find them. Nobody seems to have them.
Right.
McIver's name comes up. They come over. Wow, got that freezer, and they take it to Nanaimo, or they may take it to up the coast, or it may go to a restaurant downtown. So there's those type of things. Although you go to big companies and saying, okay, well, get this. They got lots of appliances, but they don't have those kind of appliances.
And so that's the ticket now in terms of staying competitive. Is this long-standing relationship with clients and customers. Now you're doing family repeat business. You sold mom and dad some appliances a few years back. They've still got those. And now the kids are out getting married and moving on and taking charge of their lives. And by gosh, if they don't go see Jack for some appliances to get a start.
Well,
that's nice.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, it does. And there's third generations. It's been around for a long time.
Right.
And I like that. And also, as I said before, I think the exercise of doing deliveries and doing service calls I am the best person for figuring things out for people. People bring appliances from all over the place into our store to get them repaired properly.
Interesting. Now, you to of packet our first break. Tip number 1, ready to go?
Yep.
Okay.
Fall is now upon us, so it's time to check the airflow from the dryer at the vent hood outside and see if it's clean and blowing strong and not blocked. If the hood is metal, that's good. It's not worth a damn because they heat up. Lint sticks up, especially a screen. The buildup of problem hoods, the lint by people of the box take see what they had. One of them had an actual metal hood with a damper in it. They got all these big ugly looking things and this with a screen and those, because plastic doesn't warm up, the lint as it comes out is damp and it sticks to them.
Oh, okay, right.
And it plugs up those. I ripped out lots of those off on people's houses.
Right. So now, where would we go to look just to double check? You're saying it's fall. It's a good thing to do every
fall.
Yes,
where the.
So we go to the outside of the house and look at that
where the air's coming.
Where the air's coming out from the dryer.
Yeah, and make sure there's not a piece of plywood laying against it or a bunch of wood piled up blocking it.
Right, as we tend to do in the summertime. Yes.
Because that affects your airflow, and which affects your energy rating. I mean, if you use a lot more power if your venting's blocked. And then, of course, you can tell by feeling it, putting your hand in front of it. If it's got a good airflow, you know it's working good. If it doesn't, you maybe should inspect your dryer venting behind the dryer.
All right. Well, and guaranteed to save you money if you can uncover the problem before it becomes all clogged up and backed up, right?
That's right. And that only hoods we sell are high-quality 4-inch vent hoods for dryers that are made out of galvanized steel that won't rust, and they'll outlast 5 plastic ones, and they cost $20.
Wow, good deal. There's tip number 1 from Jack McIver from McIver's Appliances at 610 Southeast Marine Drive, just west of Fraser in Vancouver. McIvers.biz is the website if you want to have a look at some of these lines of appliances that Jack's been talking about, and there's lots